Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Academy, powered by Verizon, of course. I'm Mazel, joined by Joshi, Mad Magical, the pirate, still with us here, still hanging out. Hardy har har, how you doing? Are you doing okay? I mean, you've been out on the seas for a while. Are you parched? Are you dehydrated?
Are you asking if I have scurvy?
Yes. Have you been eating oranges?
I have.
Yo, Gangplank has some very wise words to give you, but we had Cloud9 coming up victorious in game number 1. Now, before we get to talk about the breakdown, before we get to talk about that game a little bit and who showed up in the moment, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to play what I like to call Who's That Academy Player? We're going to have a little bit of fun with it. Woo! It's going to be a fun one because I have picked 2 players here in Academy to highlight. I have 6 facts for each one of them.
I was really worried you're just going to drop their names right there. I have copy and takeover ready to go.
Ready to go, as the script entails. But I have gotten 6 trivia facts. I'm going to start with 1 player. Okay. I'm going to start naming off all the facts. You guys can talk about the facts, discuss amongst yourselves, and then once I'm done, you can guess who it is. And I'll see if you're right, and we'll get the reveal.
Yeah, Twitch chat, you play too.
Yeah, if you want to play too, you can. So we're going to start off with our first player here.
That's Gomsu.
I don't think you're right on that.
Am I not?
But it's not the silhouette, because we've had problems with that before. It's not. That's just a generic esports player silhouette. Anyway.
You know why I'm pretty sure it's Gomsu, other than just like the shape of the face? Because it is 100 Thieves top laner. It's probably the first player that they looked at because it's alphabetical.
Interesting.
Or like position, you know?
All right, so starting off the facts. Is an enjoyer of the pingity-pongity. Ping pong.
Okay. There's a lot of those.
Yeah,
okay.
There's a lot of those.
Except Do you know how little that narrows it down?
Except at Immortals. I will say, except at Immortals. No ping pongers at Immortals. I found that out yesterday. Anyways, a proud pet owner. If you didn't know.
Again, do you know how little that narrows
things down?
Yeah,
but has had time at LCS. Has had time.
Okay,
at LCS,
there we go.
Okay, that does narrow it down
a little bit.
It's still like half
yes,
of
it is. Exactly.
Yeah.
Technically an import. All right, there you go. First competitive team was Valorous. That's the name of his first competitive team. Yep, Valorous. Valorous. Known for his insane, absolute, unhinged dedication to the game. Who could this possibly be?
I mean,
wow. Okay.
You go, Josh.
This is probably the most difficult one you've
Let's go!
It is definitely, but I still think I know
it's so general.
I have 3 players that come to mind.
Okay.
And they are Takeover, King, and Destiny.
Okay.
And this is mostly based off of the fact that you said they are technically an
import.
import.
But King and Destiny are not technically imports.
Okay.
But it's Mazel. Mazel is deciding the rules. What is that supposed to
mean? Come on, I make the rules. I'm the captain now.
Right, because like Mia is definitely an import. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
King and Destiny coming from OS, and Takeover is a Latin American player, but I think he's from US, if I remember correctly. Oh, he's from Korea?
Yeah.
My guess is I'm actually going to go with King on this one.
Okay. See, I'm going with Takeover. That was who I thought immediately. I'm like, okay, if it's not technically an import kind of thing, you would only put that wording in there if you're talking about Takeover.
Okay. All right, well, I got the reveal here, so let's get a little bit of a drum roll because our first player is TSM Academy Takeover. And I'm surprised you guys didn't get it at the pet owner one. I'm surprised you guys didn't get it at the insane dedication one because the man is a proud pet owner. He says it every single time we're in an interview of Urasan. Apparently, he's also technically an import because he's a minor region from LET. So, Valorous was his first competitive team there as well.
Is Valorous a Latin American team?
Yes.
Okay.
The insane dedication one, very much huge props to Takeover mechanically. Can multitask very well. And I know we've talked about it a lot, but the fact that he's able to play video games while he's taking an interview and handle both with such ease Man, somebody
I still
signed
can't
that.
believe he did that.
He was very surprised, from what I understand, that we actually were going to interview him. He's like, well, you just got 4 new members around you. What are you interviewing me for?
Hey, we gotta talk. We gotta talk to the stable member, the person that's there, right? But yeah, it was a fun one. All right, so first one was TSM Takeover. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you guys had a little bit of difficulty with that one. I know they've been pretty easy in the past, so that was really fun. Next player, let's go ahead and start it off. I don't know if this one's going to be any more difficult or not. We'll see. Has a lot of faith in their coaching staff, has been vocal about that outwardly, which might not be the most direct hint, but likes to play basketball. All right, is one of our basketball players. I'm very few and far between. It feels like in the academy, has been a core developmental prospect for his team since joining. All right, you got that one. You got that one down.
Okay.
You got that one locked and loaded. First competitive team name was Timmy Turner, was a sub on the team.
I already know it, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Avoided the hard stuck curse in his Korean boot camp and has been coached by our producer, Kelsey. Who could it possibly be? Who could it
Alex, you want to start?
be?
Yeah, I couldn't be someone by the name of Johan, could it?
Nah.
Nah.
Definitely not.
That's not the name I know him by. No. I don't know what you're talking about. Because you guys are wrong.
Turner.
Can I just
You guys are wrong.
copy,
You just
can I
said
copy
Johan. It's not Johan. It's copy. How could you be so wrong? I can't believe you. Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Kelsey, we got to rethink these talent assignments.
Gotta rethink. Is there even
it
a
is
Johan?
Cloud9 copy or his name Johan. It is interesting to go through because his first team was Timmy Turner subbing in through there and then joining the team, but then quickly moving to 100 Thieves next, where he was picked up and then moved swiftly into the academy system. Thank you. Shout out to Kelsey for the big props on the avoided the hard stuck curse in Korean boot camp, because King and Shade apparently got stuck trying to duo. But Copy, he said he avoided that and was climbing quickly. So I appreciate that. Also the fact that all these guys just got to spend some time in the Korean boot camp.
Hell yeah.
Was really nice. And coached by Kelsey on 100 Next. So,
Let's go, Kelsey. Good job.
yeah,
We can directly credit everything Copy has ever done directly to producer Kelsey.
directly to it. But
can't
Copy
we do
did
the
some
same
pretty
here?
cool stuff in the game. I'm just saying. Did you find any big booties out there in the ocean that you're on for the last 2 hours? Was there anything out there?
Is there any mermaids?
Was any mermaids, sirens, islands? There were no islands this time, I feel like.
No
I feel like
islands.
there were islands.
Well, there was an island bot lane. I definitely saw that for a bit.
Okay. Did you go visit?
Yeah.
Did you get the... I heard they had good coconuts.
Went, visited, no booty, left.
Are you just saying that because Seraphine was there?
Wait, no, I don't know. What is that? Anyways, we're going to talk about that first game because I think it's really interesting to see, as you were saying at the end of it, right? Seeing where a takeover can improve, where he can find a better version of the matchup in the Copy, I think will be super important. But it wasn't just that mid matchup that really meant something in that one, Joshi.
Yeah, it was definitely a game where we called it out towards the end. Copy and Takeover were relatively quiet this game, right? Copy had one really strong ultimate, but it was set up by Shaden, and then after the second one, like, 'cause there were only really like 2 fights in that game. After the second one where Shaden doesn't get his way onto the Seraphine, Darshan makes sure that Tactical has nowhere left to go, and that is the core of every single game you play against Seraphine. Do you catch them? Do you kill them? And as for Alex, I'll explain it when you're older.
Okay, thank you. I'm still confused.
Keep hunting out there on the open seas there, Alex.
Yar!
I believe in you. There's a fish out there for you somewhere. Is it a
Plenty of
big
fish in the
white
sea.
whale? Is it a big white whale or is it a small fish? Who knows?
It'd be the white whale. Yeah, whatever.
Are you
Anyway.
so? Do you have any thoughts about especially TSM side of the matchup here going into game 2 Magical and trying to look at where they can set up Anda a little bit better maybe to get something rolling for them?
Well, I think really the big thing, I think they did fine. Pretty much most places in the map. I think the biggest problem was the fact they left Zeri open. And you could see how that eventually impacted them. The Zeri Zillion combo scales just as well as Seraphine. So it's one of those things where do you attack? You've got a Renekton, and he's got choices. Attack Zeri well then Chrono Shift. Attack Zillion, well then dead.
Yeah, and a huge part of their problem was that they had no good engage tools, right? Like, Solo on the Gragas is really good at disrupting fights. He is okay at making picks happen. We saw TSM, like, half-heartedly go for it once or twice, but how do you actually get these team fights started, right? You need to get things started on your terms so you can force out the Zeri ultimate and then time it out so that you can force Shaden to use the ultimate on somebody that you don't want him to, or rather that you do want him to, right? You need to force Shaden to not get to the Seraphine. And because they weren't able to get anything started, Seraphine just kind of sits there and is la-di-da, I can't actually do the team fighting if there's no team fighting happening.
Yeah. I think for me it's about seeing Tactical on something that's going to enable him, because we have seen that he has been a little bit over aggressive since he's been in Academy, but I think it's also worked out to their benefit to some extent. And I want to see him on something that is meta, something that is going to be aggressive down there in the bottom lane with Mia, and see if they can actually pull something off towards that King in Destiny bottom lane that I feel like we got to see a bit of stability from that time, Joshi.
I'll be honest, Lennon, I understood about 30% of what you said. Is that just me?
No, I heard him. It's just you.
It's okay. Well, then
Okay.
all right. so I'll try and be very, very clear. The bottom lane,
Okay, got it. Tactical
aggression. Need.
Okay, we're back. Okay. I was having some real bandwidth throttling issues there for a moment. I can actually hear you.
Did
now.
I sound like a robot?
I can catch you up.
Yeah, I was just like, what are you saying?
Josh, I can catch you up.
Okay,
So,
we're
I
back.
can't do
aggression,
robot
need.
and pirate at the same time. Like, I'm sorry. I
Eat
I
yar.
can't do it. We can only have
Ahoy,
one. We
eat
can only have
mateys.
one on the broadcast.
Uh-huh,
Seriously, I want to go back to the conversation, get some thoughts on it, because it's interesting to see the fact that TSM were willing to first pick the Seraphine in something that we haven't really seen them go for Tactical himself. Do you think we'll get that change into aggression, or do you think they say we need another shot at this, Josie?
I am thoroughly convinced that Seraphine is the best champion on the patch, and teams are drafting poorly around it. With not in terms of how the other teams seem to have figured out how to play against it fairly well, but if you see a Seraphine and you don't have an engage tool on it, you are not playing an effective Seraphine composition. And that is one of the big things that we will have to look at for the rest of the game. Do TSM get something that can actually start fights? This can come from Solo, right? The Gragas was, it was okay. He mostly just kind of, I mean, he knew he was going into the NAR matchup and he selected it anyway. Oh no, they didn't. They didn't know it at the time. But they got it, and they still chose to play it instead of flexing it somewhere else, right? We can see it on Anda, right? You can play the pop, you can knock people away, and then you can kind of force picks from that position as well. We also know that they play things like the Wukong. They play the Ornn. They had engaged tools on the table that they could have picked and chose not to, and that is what TSM needs to fix going into the next game.
You know, I got something better than any of that, and that's Nico's support. We saw it on the other stream.
Nico's support. Hey, we'll see if we get it. Champ Select is ready for game number 2, so let's throw it away and see what happens.
Well, let's not throw it away. Let's keep it here and actually talk about it, so we can know what's going on. If we threw it away, how would we be able to talk about it? As we get into the draft, you see that they have swapped sides. Kalista, though, still being the first ban from Cloud9.
Yeah. But unfortunately for you, Alex, Mark Dash does not exist. There are no snowballs on Summoner's Rift. It only exists on Howling Abyss, and it makes Nico's support much less effective engage on the regular map.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you got good picks, but Cloud9 taking away the Wukong as well. And then I feel like Cloud9, they control whether or not the Seraphine is going to be in the game, right? They can ban it away here, they can pick it for themselves, and King has not played it so far during this summer. But as TSM already taking it away, they don't want to find out if he can.
Well, I was about to say, I think that TSM had to ban it. It's too good of a first pick. Even though we didn't get to see its true power and the full extent of it last game, it's still something that you don't want your other team to have. There's a reason why I was trying to highlight it during like the fights, that the Seraphine healing was insane. That was what made the fights drag out a little bit longer, because otherwise, in a normal situation, the Diana Yasuo would have bursted to everyone instantly.
Yeah. Yeah, and we saw, right, in the one situation where they don't immediately get onto tactical, the Seraphine was able to survive quite a while, but TSM weren't able to respond to where the Gnar was moving. So Cloud9, now that they've already taken the Kalista and the Fearless away, they're really trying to test tactical. And last time, we saw that the Lucian Nami was potentially coming through, but Cloud9 have so much more freedom because Destiny's Yuumi is actually still available.
Yeah, and the thing is, I actually even want to kind of bring it back to the point we were just talking about, because what was one of the big problems that you had mentioned, Josh? You had mentioned.
Can we confirm if that's a no ban?
Yeah, let's see if we can confirm that. But we'll just act as though it is a no ban for now. So Lucian being picked up. The big problem though that I wanted to talk about with TSM that you had mentioned right before the game had started, low damage. They didn't have that much damage. When you have Seraphine, that's great, but you still need that DPS for a lot of these fights. And I'm looking to TSM to see how they'll draft around that, what kind of damage they'll bring to the table now.
Yeah, as the Lulu comes through right away, TSM is already looking to build some kind of more hyper carry. So there's not a lot of lanes that can really compete with the Lucian Nami early on, and King and Destiny have been one of the most prolific Lucian Nami players ever since they came back as a pair. But the Kog'Maw coming through for tactical. Cloud9 now have their challenge set up for them again. Last game it was Seraphine, now they need to get to the Kog'Maw.
See, and this is something that I've seen that has been a trend with teams that pick Kog'Maw Lulu. You still need one other aspect for the team for the Juggernaut. That is why you're building this. This is why you're drafting it. Get the Juggernaut online, have something, and this is where we go to the mid lane. We got to see a lot more action from Takeover and Copy in the previous game. They actually got more aggressive styles that we weren't expecting. But this time around, I'm expecting it to be far more tame from both of them, far more supportive for the rest of the team.
And Gnar coming through once again for Darshan. I feel like this has been one of the most common things that Darshan has played throughout his career. And as the Sylas comes through for Takeover, this is a signature champion coming through for him. It can be played top lane by solo.
I've been seeing a lot of Sylas played in Gnar now. A lot of people,
it's good.
It's really good. And so I'm expecting this to be flexed. I'm expecting this to be for solo as opposed to being for Takeover, who kind of made his name back in spring on this champion. But still, I think they want that more supportive style. And one thing I do like with having Sylas, technically, if you think about it, you can be as supportive because you can steal some of the tools from the other team, such as the tidal wave if you want to disengage fights.
True. I mean, there's a lot of different ways. The Gnar ultimate is fantastic. The culling does a ton of damage. And we are getting a confirmation that the no ban from TSM is no ban. I don't think they were penalized for anything. I think they just didn't lock in time.
Yeah, I think that's the case as well, because there should be no penalties to them today. And
not that I know of,
with the no ban, maybe it was them trying to leave things open, such as that Lulu, or just kind of trying to bait out the Lucian pick for Cloud9, because now we're in the second part of the bans. We see a lot of mid lane focus from Takeover. So Takeover, with this hover on Ahri that we've been seeing a lot more of as of late, well, we don't see it because that is going to be Jax for solo.
Okay, so this composition coming out from TSM is what I always like to refer to as a threat overload. You have so many targets that you have to hit that you can't, it feels as though you can't afford to take any one of them down. And if they're all reasonably strong, TSM they have dive tools, they have ways to get a Kog'Maw, they can play at a number of different ranges, but this puts a lot of emphasis on their individual play, right? Because this team composition isn't super cohesive, other than that it does a ton of damage. And so TSM, the one thing that they're still missing, they're missing a way to actually start fights. And Cloud9, they are definitely winning the range battle if you have to start lining up and sieging.
Though, credit to Takeover, since it is Takeover with Sylas.
Yes,
that is a great tool to start off a lot of these fights. Whatever ult you want to steal, be it the Gnar ult, be it the tidal wave as well, or or be the Let's Balance that he could steal from Shaden. There are some good engage tools, but I love that engage on the side of Cloud9 even better.
Wow, okay, yeah, Cloud9, they have set up ways to actually get to the Kog'Maw. Shaden, I believe only the second person in Academy to bring out the Zac, the other one being 100 Thieves Academy's Will.
Yes.
But TSM, now they have plenty of tools. I actually really love the Kindred if they lock it in, but they are not going to.
I like the Kindred a lot better than that, but they go for Trundle, which is still, it's better than I would have liked the Xin Zhao. I think it works a little bit better into this composition because we're expecting it's going to be tank Zac, as well as you'll have some tanky stats that you can steal away from Gnar. So there are options you have available to you. But I think that the Kindred would have been perfect, just to be able to catch and release. That's always kind of the composition that I see sometimes. When you have a full engaged composition, the best way to play against it is to absorb that engage and push it right back onto them.
Yeah, and so Cloud9, they're definitely the ones that feel like the beatdown in this game. They're the ones that need to make things happen in the mid game, and they have the tools to actually do it. They have a very strong bottom lane that is going to try and build a lead up against Kog'Maw Lulu. They have a mid lane that is a skill matchup, but is mostly determined by which jungle comes through. And in the top lane, Darshan, I don't know when the last time I've actually seen solo play this Jax, and Darshan is on his most comfortable champion. So we should look at this game, and as Cloud9, we need to be more proactive in the mid game this time than we saw in game 1.
Well, I'll try to do the stats once we get into the game to see when was the last time Solo actually played this Jax, at least in competitive. Probably he's been playing it in solo queue, but here we are on Summoner's Rift. Solo on Jax, a new flavor for him, but also a new flavor out of the jungle. Shaden playing far more to try to contest the control of Anda.
Yeah, and Shaden already walking up towards the top lane. I'm not expecting a whole lot. He probably throws down a ward and backs away, but it does mean that he will have a ward there, and Darshan needs to be a little careful.
Keep talking. I'm trying to do the stats.
Okay. And potentially catching him does have the slow. Do they actually get the stun? Takeover not committing for it. They do just get a little bit of vision down, but Darshan yet again starting with the hop. This is avant-garde, I have to say, right? This is the second time he's gone with the lethal tempo and the hop. I love the experimentation. I'm not sure if Jax is the matchup that I would do it into, but the fact that he is showcasing that he's not just autopiloting his runes, he's not just autopiloting his levels, does show me that he is thinking. That's one of the things that I've praised a lot of our most valuable prospects in the past for.
Keep talking.
I'm still talking. It's TSM. They go in for their first invade as well, and they have the vision. Darshan not going to be going over to check, and so TSM, they do this. The only question is, do Cloud9 know? When Shaden gets put behind in his early pathing, he kind of crumbles, right? We saw last game, he didn't have any successful ganks, and Shaden was outpaced by Anda.
And that did make it a little risky, but now we're seeing a little bit of a skirmish in the top lane. Level 1 to level 1. Both of them fighting for that level 2 experience lead, but Solo is going to be the one who loses out just slightly.
Yeah, I mean, Solo starting with the Q, it's the only way for him to actually get in range of Darshan, but because Darshan opting into this low health style of lane, it does make him a little bit more vulnerable to Anda ganks. So far, Cloud9, it's not obvious to me that they know that Shaden's topside jungle has already been taken away, and looking to get away with robbery, and if Zac doesn't get an entire quadrant of his jungle, Zac doesn't get level 4, he doesn't get to gank for a long time, and that's when Shaden looks the weakest.
Exactly, because the thing with Zac, which is kind of weird to say with the tank, is how good he scales into the game.
Yes.
He gets a lot more powerful with more levels, especially because the range of Elastic Slingshot grows insanely as he gets more levels under that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, he generally levels at first, right? It's the first max coming through from the Zac. He stays relatively clear, and Shaden walking into the top side is going to get to the Wolves, and then he's going to be like, what is it? Pulp Fiction? John Travolta?
Uh-huh.
What's going on here? Where are all my camps going? Anda has taken control of everything that Shaden has wanted to do, and he walks around and he goes, huh.
And that's why, you know, Trundle, it might not have been our top pick that we wanted to see going into this, but it still plays into the hands that Anda likes to play for, which is more of a control style, more putting his opponent behind as best as possible. Now, we see he shows up in mid lane with the Gravity Well, already getting the stun on a takeover, follow up with the last slingshot onto Anda. Both should survive. I don't think any summoners will be blown across the board.
Yeah, Anda pulled back. Not going to be enough. Yeah, no summoners are blown, but now this is the question that Shaden must answer. Can he get some of this farm back? Copy has no mana with which to help him out.
All right, so I finally finished my query of trying to figure out when the last time Solo played Jax is. He's not. He's not. Not at least in competitive, as we get a heal in bot lane from Tactical and Mia. Yeah, that's what I found out.
Okay, well, there you go. This is his first ever game. Shaden coming top.
Nice dodge away, though. Just jumps over to minion, says, thanks for the help, brother. So Anda can show up, still a level down to Shaden. They can look to see if they can force a flash here. Long lane, that's going to be the pillar. Looking for the stun with the counter strike. The flash away though, flash to make sure they get the stun. Darshan's in trouble. They've chopped them down underneath this turret while the blob of goo just watches in awe.
And suddenly, we are starting to see Anda comes in. It's a late counter gank, but because the elastic slingshot is blown, because Darshan doesn't have tools, forced to flash, counter flash coming through from Jax. This is Anda at his peak. This is Anda preventing Shade from having any kind of impact. And even though he's not out farming him just quite yet, Shaden is asking, what do I do on the Zac? How do I have an impact? I do more at level 9, but for now, Anda is setting up his top lane for success.
And guess what? Both junglers are still hanging around the top lane because now Shaden feels pressured. Feels pressured to see if he can stop the gravy train that will be Solo in his first competitive game of Jax that we've seen. He's already off to the races as he looks for the stun out of Darshan, but since Anda is here, he's already TP'd into this lane. This is rough for Darshan. He's about to go Mega, might be able to outlast a little bit, but the flash in, he doesn't have the flash away. Darshan, he might have fought back. He's about to go Mega. He doesn't yet go into the stasis, doesn't go into his evolved form, but it is still a thwart of a gank.
We were looking at Anda setting up the top lane for success, but Solo not able to land the stun. And even though Darshan doesn't get a kill, he gets a flash out of Anda. He gets to crash this wave, and Solo doesn't have teleport.
What a play! Turned around by El Presidente as bot lane Tactical gets taken so low, but barely does he hold on to dear life.
And bottom lane, as they push Tactical out of the lane, it's the first time that they get enough of a crash to prevent their opponents from having an effect, from getting all of this wave. And TSM, despite the fact that they got the first blood, it's not as though they are out of the woods just quite yet. Cloud9 are still performing where they need to. 2-3 waves are to the advantage top lane.
And plus, you have this advantage bot lane that is expected with the Lucian Nami lane. You bully around Kog'Maw Lulu pretty heavily early on into the game, and you can see a lot of this is translated into CS. Top lane, sizable lead for Darshan. Even though he died and got first blooded,
and
it's still
coming back.
Exactly. It is perfect timing for Darshan. The veterancy, what you expect from this top laner, really showing in this game.
Yeah. I mean, Darshan has been so good at managing these waves. He is showcasing that, yeah, you can't first time a champion into Minar, buddy. This has been a long time coming, been waiting for an opportunity. He will not be able to build a freeze, but he's still going to be about 2 waves ahead of Solo after dying after getting ganked a second time. And so far, Cloud9 going even is a little bit less than what we were hoping for, but they come online very soon.
Oh, here's a little bit of a skirmish in the bot lane. A lot of damage onto King coming in from Tactical and Mia as they're forcing both King and Destiny out of the lane. Flash in to pick up the kill.
Okay, Tactical and Mia firing back. Suddenly, the one place we're expecting Cloud9 to have an advantage is no longer there, and TSM
it's topsy-turvy.
Picking up the first dragon.
Yeah, it's topsy-turvy. Top lane is now the one getting the advantage for Cloud9, while bot lane is starting to fall behind, and this gives plenty of opportunity for Anda to secure Dragon and make sure that even if Solo is falling behind against Darshan, the bot lane will make up for it.
True, and Tactical and Mia, one of our big questions was this LCS bottom lane is losing consistently in the laning phase. They are consistently behind even in winning matchups.
Well, here's the jump in. That's a lot of damage on Tactical, and he's
got
to be
something,
careful.
Please.
Oh, he was polymorphed. How could he hit anything, Josh?
Well, yeah, it's true. Everybody knows squirrels don't have hands, but
no, they have claws and paws.
But yeah, Shaden, he goes in, he lands on the Tactical, but they don't even have to use a summoner spell. And Shaden, you know, he's doing a good job farming. That is going to mean that he will be able to play later on in the game. But they don't necessarily have the lead on TSM right now. Cloud9 is not beating TSM. And when Copy is using this ultimate on the mid wave because they don't have something that they want to play for, he's just going to have to back away. That's another tool that Cloud9 will not have to try and scale.
No, it's definitely getting rough here. Solo even gets a nice stun on a Darshan, noticing that the hop cooldown is a little bit longer than his own.
Quite a bit longer. And TSM, they have the tools. Now, one of the things that we will look at in the rest of this game, now that we have seen the first kill in the bottom lane going over, is picked up by Mia. Tactical gets to play very, very aggressively. The only thing he really needs to be worried about is the combo from Shaden and Darshan to knock him into the rest of the team. But just as we identified at the beginning, Tactical has a lot of other threats to play around. He just needs to be a little bit patient to make sure that Shaden can't engage on him. You have to engage on the melee champions.
See, and I even want to bring it back to the point that you talked about where Tactical and Mia have struggled in bot lane in Academy. They haven't really had the best fights. They've been caught out a little bit too aggressively. But this is a show of confidence for TSM Academy. The fact they give Tactical the Kog'Maw Lulu matchup into what they know is going to be Lucian and Nami, a really rough laning phase, but they survive. They're able to get through it. They've got a kill, in fact, over the spot lane of Cloud9, which puts them in a fantastic position. Once you get that first item for Tactical, he's going to be even more deadly against King.
Yeah, and we know that it's not just any bottom lane, right? This is this is Cloud9 Academy, and so I feel as though they might be in trouble a little bit. Destiny walks away. But if Cloud9 is trying to chirp me, you got to do better than this.
Nice use of the pillar to make sure the last slingshot doesn't work out too well. The Soul and ult, not even going to have to worry about it. Despite the fact the bot lane showed up from Cloud9 to try to see if they can contest this Rift Herald, there's the bot lane from TSM that scares them away.
And that's going to be the Rift Herald getting picked up by TSM as well, right? They're the ones coming online right now. They're the ones making the plays in the mid game. This is when we were looking for Cloud9 to do it. And again, Shaden, he wasn't able to get any successful ganks off early in the game. And now he's looking a little bit lost, if I'm entirely honest.
It's the problem of going against Anda. This controlled jungler, Copy, is using a lot to try to see if he can catch him. But they got takeover on the other side. Same with Solo, the flash away from Anda to make sure he doesn't get chased down.
But they get the Rift Herald, they get a wave to crash top lane. Darshan will pick up most of it. But TSM, right, that's another opportunity for Cloud9 to try and drag TSM into a fight that they will not be able to pick up. Cloud9, now, they're still looking at Shaden to get level 9. Maximum range on that elastic slingshot.
Right. Oh, I thought you were going to continue.
Oh, my bad.
I thought you had more to talk about there. I'm like, yeah, right. That's
yeah,
a great point.
But what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm looking towards. That's Shaden was able to find Mia, forcing out. Yeah, exactly. A really well-timed knockup from Mia to make sure that the elastic slingshot didn't connect. So praise out to the spot lane. And when we last saw Mia in Academy before this recent stint where he struggled a little bit, he was one of our best performing supports. We were even excited for him to get that chance in LCS. We talked about how him and Bevo were the bot lane that you wanted to scrim against in LatAm because how powerful both of them are together. And we're seeing a lot of those hands from Mia just with that little play.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, he might have overstepped his welcome there. Doesn't have his wild growth, or does he? He holds on to flash, in fact. Mia is playing with fire, and he keeps coming out unscathed.
Yeah, I mean, this will allow TSM to crash a wave, even though it doesn't give them an immediate advantage. It will get them a little bit more money, and as King...
Well, with 30 seconds till Dragon, you're getting plates, you're getting Dragon, it's all Gucci for TSM.
But look at what Cloud9 pick up, Alex. Even though the plates are going over, TSM dropping this Herald and the turret goes down, it will be a very powerful back coming through for King, right? He already has the completed Gale Force, and Tactical still waiting on his first item to come through. He might have it now after all this plate money, but if they back away for it, they will not be in time for Dragon. But neither will Cloud9, actually. Shaden's just now backing up.
Right. I was about to say, he's topside, so as weird as it is, where you're like, okay, you trade the gold and you're going to trade the Dragon for TSM. They don't have to worry about that.
No
they might be able to get the cake and eat it too.
No deal coming through as Darshan uses the ultimate at the very end of the timer. Good time to use it, but Cloud9 and TSM, this might be Cloud9's opportunity to try and make something happen. They will scale decently well, but of course, it's Kog'Maw Lulu, and it's not necessarily the Kog'Maw that scales all on its own that you're worried about, right? It's the fact that you will not be able to kill him later on. Even with the Lucian and the Victor, you have to basically full channel both ults to actually kill through all the shields and heals that Mia will provide. Cloud9, when they take control now, if they can't pull TSM into a fight that Cloud9 wins, I don't know if it's enough.
Both sides, the top laners do not have TP either, so it will be a 4v4 if something starts between them. With the fact Cloud9 have peeled off for now, should indicate that they might want to try to go for a steal. One great thing about Zach, you're level 8, sure, but that's still a long range on the last slingshot.
Yeah. Takeover's got this flank position, hasn't picked up an ultimate to take away just yet, as they both challenge TSM taking more damage from the Dragon.
It's 50%. Getting rough. You gotta at least look for something soon if you're on either side. This dance is lasting a while, and guess who's gonna show up to the party? Darshan. The path down, but he's mini now. He won't be as effective, but just the presence alone nets Dragon control to Cloud9.
TSM, they don't get the Dragon, but they don't lose the fight, and that's the bigger thing, right? The fact that they walk away, the fact that TSM are showing discipline is something that we've been missing out on a lot of teams in the Academy scene, and this is a new showing. I feel as though I want to credit that to Anda, right? Because we've been crediting them so much with their ability to play out this macro and their ability to look for all this pressure play. That says to me, Anda's like, I don't really like this. We see Darshan behind us. Let's not flip this. We still have plenty to play for later.
I think it's just, you know, a new face for TSM Academy across the board. Solo, a bit more patient as well, looking more to see if he can try to get towards elements where he's the most powerful. He's got the Divine Cinderella already completed, but still would like another item in order to really be able to bully around Darshan.
Yeah, this Jax eventually becomes very, very strong against the Gnar, but we are still a ways out from the spot where Darshan is just completely bullied, and he probably has an entire Mythic, let's be real, when Darshan actually backs. He probably has an entire Trinity Force.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Or, okay, the fact that he's sticking around says to me that he's very close, but he's not quite there yet.
Yeah, well I'm watching, seeing where he positions. Might want that little tick of gold extra like you're talking about, maybe just shy of getting that Trinity Force. It's difficult now because he's got to face up against the bot lane. Australian lanes for a bit. Tactical wants to... Yeah, I know. It's funny because it's against the Oceanic bot lane. That was the joke I was going for. I'm glad you're catching on to my jokes, Josh, because I feel like I'm underappreciated in my time.
Underappreciated, true. You're like Larry David in those FTX commercials. But as this game continues being relatively slow, this is some of the slowest pace of games in terms of kills per minute that we've seen in Academy for a long time. It's something that we know Cloud9 have done sometimes. But again, when Cloud9 look their best, this isn't how they look, right? They look very, very aggressive. And while we're walking into the third Dragon in about 2 minutes, where both teams will be okay.
Did you see that?
See what?
We gotta hover over Tactical really quick. I want to see if he actually used it. No, he didn't. Okay. Because he bought an Elixir of Wrath for a second. Oh. But then he undid it and bought the Longsword. So I want to see if it was actually him undoing it or if him popping it right away because they're expecting a fight to ensue soon. And he doesn't have that second item to feel the most comfortable.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay, King needs to be a little bit careful as Cloud9 trying to pull TSM into another fight. But we're seeing a engage.
Yeah, this time around, there are TPs available. One being used to try to get the mid lane, but Anda has to flash away with the Wild Growth. They're going to be able to get it. Quad Sun with the Counter-Strike, but now they got to flash away. There was too much damage being unleashed by Cloud9.
And there we see King being very aggressive yet again, looking for his way to do damage to Tactical. Tactical didn't have a whole lot he could do about it. But the thing that I was oohing and awing about was Crown of the Shattered Queen! I haven't seen this build like forever, and Takeover has it. He's trying to survive the initial burst.
Jumps in on a copy, the Soul Naro gets the flash, but they can jump back in. He's gone golden. Solo wants to get the fight back. He's pushed around. They survive, and Copy's alive. Now the rest of Cloud9 can defend this mid lane and turn to see if they can look for the Rift Herald.
Cloud9, they get a team fight win, kind of, right? They get the 1 kill onto Solo, but just as we were looking at before, TSM don't have engage tools. Now they're trying to walk up, but you're trying to walk into a Zac, you're trying to walk into a Lucian Nami. It's so hard for TSM to get these fights started. Cloud9 turn around some of their misfortunes, and they'll back away with the Herald. They'll be able to come to Dragon and put TSM in a very similar spot where it's like, what are you going to do? How are you going to get on top of us?
This is looking like deja vu from last game, where it was slow, patient. We had, sure, the first blood Copy was able to get. We didn't get it this time around, but we had the early plays working out so well for TSM. And here, I get the idea. They want to get Copy, but once he blows that Zhonya's, that's when he just completely disengaged.
Well, I also want to credit Darshan here, right? He teleports into the middle of the fight and prevents Tactical from walking up. And Tactical, I mean, he has to wait for the teleport to complete because he doesn't know how much rage Darshan has. He has to assume that Darshan's ultimate is ready to go. That's the kind of thing where if you have perfect information and you are a computer, you do know. But as a player, you don't know. You haven't been watching top lane.
Yeah, very good call. Darshan playing that excellently. This is what you kind of expect. Darshan on Gnar, one of his most played champions in his career. looking to bully around Solo, who was trying to catch up this minion wave just a little bit. Grab some for himself as he's starting to slowly fall behind that of Darshan.
Yeah, and Cloud9, just in general, now that they have control over this dragon, Darshan still has the remnants of his Mega. They can burn and leave.
Let's see if they can, though. Solo might be able to use the flash gun. There's going to be takeover on the flank on the other side. Counter-strike, looking for the stun on Akambi. Not going to be able to connect. Instead, Solo's got to ditch out of there completely.
Take over.
The backline, the Scott object doesn't connect. The flash in. Will looking for Sheet, and he goes golden. They trade Solo's life for it. And now takeover's in danger. He's wild growth, but that's so much damage. A double kill for King, chasing down TSM, who are flashing away. But you can see the hunt, the bloodlust is there for Cloud9 as they continue to chase down TSM.
And we're seeing the troubles for TSM. Cloud9 playing so well around it, right? Shade using the last slingshot to rejoin the rest of the team. Takeover only catches one with his Gnar ultimate. And Cloud9, as they move towards the Baron, they're pulling TSM into these fights that Cloud9 can win. They're building up the lead, and now that they have the Baron, we'll see how much they actually take off this map, because there's a ton of standing gold. They haven't gotten a threat yet.
Again, deja vu in this game. Couple fights going the way of Cloud9, and it seems like they've always held the lead, even if the gold seems relatively even between the two squads. Cloud9, just from play to play to play, are able to get full control of this map.
Yeah, and TSM, they aren't able to set each other up for success, right? Takeover is forced into these awkward positions where he's primary engage.
Okay, King, Gale Force away. Tactical though, he's on to the hunt himself, and he wants a shutdown for it. Well done.
Nice, well done from Tactical, right? King just not expecting the damage to come through, but this is one of the big spikes for the Kog'Maw. They put a stop to so much of the Cloud9 potential aggression. But Cloud9 will still probably get quite a bit on this Baron. But here, Takeover, he misses the stun, flashes forward, but he only catches one. He stays alive with the Crown of the Shattered Queen, but what do? The rest of the team can't get in.
Also, we didn't even get to see before this replay, Copy sidestepping Counter-Strike. Had that connected from Solo, I think this fight is completely different. Because there's no flash, there's no stopwatch this time around for Copy. He keeps that fight going for such a length of time that they can then push back.
Yeah. And we're seeing the problems that TSM will have, right? You saw the gravity field in the middle. There's no way for Tactical and Nia to walk through that. They're just not fast enough. And so they're kind of relying on Cloud9 taking bad engages at this point. Solo is not strong enough to present credible threat to King and Destiny. Takeover, he might be strong enough, but that's the second time he's gone in. He's gotten a one-man Gnar ultimate, and that's their best engage tool. We have to ask more from him.
We do. I mean, we have to ask more from him, more from Solo.
Oh,
even if they get this pick attempted on to Copy, that is the kind of play that you want to see turned around. But Tactical will burn to the Chaos Storm. Darshan, he's the next focus, next pillar, but he hops away. Jaden wants to re-engage. He jumps in with the last slingshot, connects onto Mia. We're getting a little bit of damage on top of the support, and he's got no way out of this, so it will be a 2-for-1.
Oh, Tactical, he's feeling the pressure, right? When Kog'Maw's your primary playmaker, you know something has gone desperately wrong for TSM. And now, with the turrets going down, they at least get one top lane. But Cloud9, we said there was a ton of gold for them to pick up. They got the bot lane turret, they got the mid lane turret, they got another mid lane turret, they got top lane. Suddenly, the gold is pouring in for Cloud9.
Oh
they have a ton of map control.
They still had Rift Herald too?
They get everything, and this turret goes down.
Everything. So they should be able to pick this up with the help of Shelly. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turrets?
Yeah, picked up on one Baron push, Alex, and they're in total control. They reset. Everybody's going to have an extra item to pick up. They will go back towards this dragon. They will threaten the soul point, and TSM, they're running out of options, right? We've seen Tactical step up for this opportunity. We've seen Takeover try and step up, but for a player, this big developmental player from Takeover, he's not having enough. And Tactical, I like this, right? You have to try and make these plays happen. Takeover does get the stun.
It's the Chaos Storm, though.
Yeah, I mean, just sitting in it. Great stuff from Copy to make sure Tactical can't do anything. And here, they are just out of buttons, right? What do they do next?
They've used pretty much everything. Mia is easy to just jump on top of since they kind of split away from the bot lane completely. He said, we're going to have to sacrifice it for now. And now, Jaden, he jumped in. He takes a lot of damage. They'll flash away to be able to survive. Now they look for Darshan with the TP coming in from both sides. Both solo laners of TSM are now here to see if they can contest this dragon.
Okay, I mean, TSM are now set up to do fine for this dragon. Solo walking in to prevent the backs.
He wants to do his best, but one back will go off. He gets a lot of damage onto Shaden, who's able to survive and grab one of his bloodlets himself. Well, more damage is shifted from King, making sure that Solo is now in dire straits, but so is Shaden, who needs to be there if they want to contest this dragon.
Yeah, neither of them actually have the teleport available, right? Solo has already used it, and Cloud9 needs to be careful. Tactical!
But the damage, Tactical! You've got to be a hero! The Chaos Storms are brewing on top of your head, but they've got the call
They get him!
Take you down, nor ult from Takeover's not enough, and without Tactical, what tactical decision does TSM have left to themselves? They got to bait out a fight, they've got to look for a pick. Low health bars on to King, maybe Takeover. Dio's got him ducked, but the flash away. Flashed into being able to pick up a kill, but he might trade his own life unless the rest of his team can show up to save him as well, but they can't. A killing spree for Copy. TSM now running at once more. Cloud9 replicating the successes they had last game when it came to the mid game.
And I can tell, like, if I look at this play, I'm watching this, I'm looking at Tactical. Tactical is ticked off, right? He is looking for ways to try and make things happen, and he's looking at Solo, he's looking at Ant and Takeover and saying, if you're not going to do anything, then I need to. He's going so far forward, and I pin that player. I feel so bad for Tactical right now, because he feels as though he needs to make something happen. And unfortunately, I agree, but you have to play on these razor-thin margins. That play was close to killing Darshan, but close isn't good enough right now. Tactical falling behind again.
What is it? Close is only good in
horseshoes and hand grenades. That's what I was looking for earlier.
Yep, there it is.
Did I say bowling pins? What does that mean?
No. So bowling pins are when you bowl. You get this big ball. The pins are the things you want to knock over. There's going to be, I think, 12 of them?
Nah, 10.
Is it 10?
Yeah, it's 10.
Yeah, you're right. It's 10. It's 10. Because it's 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
I had to think about it again. I was like, I don't know why I spaced on that. But either way, you get the point. Those are the things you knock over. Kind of like how TSM is getting knocked around at the moment by Cloud9.
They're the bowling pins.
They are the bowling pins.
I think we've all seen that animation on Twitter at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably use this one as one of those bowling animations, because
you're
getting to a rough spot as TSM. They've tried to fight back in these early positions, but unfortunately, things have just not gone well in any one of these fights, and the closest we had was probably the previous fight, because they got some kills, but it still is a net control for Cloud9.
Yeah, it's so hard for Tactical to walk up. He doesn't have a front line that can create space. And Solo, he doesn't have the damage. He's no longer building to split push.
No, he's not. He's going for more of the fights. There to more join in and deny a lot of the damage that King and Darshan could lay out. Darshan's going to go Maker. This could be a good window. If TSM are able to deny them from trying to jump on any objective, afterwards they could look to see if they can punish.
And so Cloud9, they don't want to get punished. They're good boys. Yeah, they're all boys, as far as I know.
They're patient.
Cloud9, as they start to set up, like, they have all the engage tools on their team, right? They have the range. The only person with range that they're worried about is Tactical. And Tactical, you know, he's got the Gale Force, he's got the Blade of the Ruin King, he's got the Rage Knife completed, but I mean, what do you do against Chaos Storm and the Culling? He's not able to do anything, and committing is the Bio-Arcane Barrage, the W, in order to just get like one auto attack on Darshan. Now he's got 10 seconds where he doesn't have it available, and Cloud9 can retake this position.
He's level 13, so I think it's a little bit less than 10 seconds now. But still, either way, it is a window of opportunity, and that's why you can see TSM are completely bailing on the attempted play. Not even looking to see if they can posture around the Baron and commit to a dance, because they find themselves 4,000 gold behind, and when they were even against Cloud9, they were already struggling in those fights. It's like last time. Even gold, yet Cloud9 win the fights. We're at what was once even gold with this advantage to Cloud9. TSM, what hope do you have?
Well, I don't even think like Cloud9 are going to flip over this Baron, right? They have a minute 45 until the Ocean Soul, and I think that wins a lot of these fights by default. So they can look for Darshan.
Oh, he's mini too. That could be the angle, but you can see Shaden has something else up his sleeve with the pick on Amia. DP committed, but they got the root with the Chaos Armor Ruin and the knockup coming in for the last life pound combo, so they can pick up a killing spree for Darshan. Solo will fall. Double kills for El Presidente.
We were afraid Darshan was going to get caught, but Darshan catches TSM on the backside. TSM not able to do anything whatsoever. Cloud9 get the Baron and the Ocean Soul if they want it, and they got 5 Hearth on their last push. There are 6 turrets left on the map for TSM. If that's the same kind of thing we're looking at, TSM can't do anything. Cloud9 have so much money to spend. There's a Guardian Angel completed Arn Darshan at this point as well. And like the one player we need to see step up remains this rookie, remains a Latin American import. TakeOver needs to find a way in. He needs to take the Gnarl. He needs to find multiple members so that Tactical can hit. It's their one way back, and he hasn't been able to do it. And he's tried 3 times.
Looking at that replay, from one rookie that we're talking about in TakeOver to the next with Shaden, that was a great pick. Understanding, hey, if we can kill Lulu, they have no fight afterwards. We don't have to worry about it any further. So here, with the position, Baron power on Cloud9 side, all 5 grouped up for both sides.
Yeah, TakeOver has step 1. He's got the Gnar ultimate.
Okay, gonna be a lot of damage onto Darshan though, coming in from Tactical. It's an engage attempted by Shaden, maybe a little bit too early. The tidal wave to disengage so they can reset around Dragon. This is sole opportunity for Cloud9. So long as they can control any flank angle that TakeOver is looking for, might be able to help him out, but TakeOver, he has Gnarl. He has the way in. There's a lot of damage onto Shaden. They could dive in if they want to, but they're just trying to see if they can poke at him at the moment, because now Darshan's the one on the hunt looking for TakeOver, who started off the Dragon, had to flash back towards his team, because Darshan has gotten to a point where he is dangerous to face off against. You can't even jump on top of him because that Guardian's Angel will keep him alive. So TakeOver's doing his best to see if he can keep him zoned away, but now Soul is getting chased down. King is the king of Australia as he took down Solo and everyone else on TSM. What can they do? They're watching it on horror. This fight is all Cloud9's, and they have the bot lane of TSM who have to pull off a hero play. Tactical. This is why we always lauded you before. We talked about you when it came to Academy. This is your time to shine. You're fighting back valiantly, but you can't because Darshan is really the one who takes the prize home with Mia running away the best he damn can. But really, it's only for the inevitable because we know with him being level 12, yes, giggle a little bit at the missed jump. But I don't think he's out now. I think that it's all delaying. It's all making sure they can delay this time, space it out, because with 5 seconds left until Anda spawns, they'll be able to get a Dragon. They'll be able to push towards turrets. They can get this TP play in mid so they can even contest toppling an inhibitor.
Alright, the ending coming through for Cloud9 is a little bit disjointed, but it is still an end as Mia, he survives, but Cloud9, they pick up the Ocean Soul, they win the fight. Copy
Got jumped on. Chaos Storm brewing again. Solo taking a lot of damage from that. This is the problem with Victor on the other side. Once he gets in the late game, he's going to be really scary. Now taking a lot of damage. Still alive finally. He falls to take over. It's a trade. 1 for 1. Now they got a low turn. They got a lot of damage coming in from King. Trying to see if they can get this back. Get the jump in from Shaden. Gets the knockup on a Tactical. But Tactical, he's got to be careful. You have to survive. It ain't cornered. Shaden takes him down into the dirt. And this game is Cloud9's. TSM might have put up a little bit of a fight throughout the first 20 minutes of the game. But once the fights came through for Cloud9, once they found their angles, they never have relented since. They can even fight inside the base, get more kills, more gold, pad them damn KDAs, because you got a 2-0 Cloud9.
And once again, in El Presidente, Darshan looking fantastic. 8-1-5 on the Gnar. Darshan and Copy were really kind of my stars for this game with their ability to turn around all of the fights, right? Darshan consistently creating pressure, making sure that he can mark TakeOver. And at the very end, TakeOver yet again, he had 2 more one-man Gnar ults. It's not quite enough. Cloud9 playing around him fantastically. But as you called out earlier as well, Magical, Copy staying alive in so many of these team fights where he is being pressured by Solo, he's pressured by TakeOver. Beautiful Zonias, beautiful stasises overall, keeps him alive for so much, and he's able to keep putting out the damage.
And he's got to put his name back in the basket, in the hat, mind you, of the runnings for the most valuable prospects, just from these 2 seniors alone. We haven't seen really the pop-off in the past, but here, in this game and in the last, he looks so much better than... this is like the spring Copy we saw with diving all the way under 3 turrets to get a kill, where he was the one making a lot of the plays for the team to follow up on, and somehow surviving as Victor forever.
Yeah, and with that said, right, Cloud9 looking pretty decent. Darshan had 2 good games. King had a great one. Copy had a great one. So as we start looking towards this, it does give them hope. But the rest of their season looking very tough. They still have to play CLG, 100 Thieves, and Team Liquid back to back to back as their next opponents.
It'll decide whether or not they deserve to be in that top 3. For now, we're going to toss a break. When we come back, we'll have our host Mazel here for an interview with Cloud9. Make sure you stay tuned.
Welcome back to the post-game interview powered by Verizon. I'm Mazel, joined by the ADC for Cloud9, King, after a victorious 2-0 over, none other than TSM Academy. Man, feels good. I gotta ask, first of all, going against Mia and Tactical, how did it feel? How does it go? The obvious change-ups for TSM Academy, but for your sake, I know behind the scenes you were feeling a little bit anxious. You were feeling a bit interested about this matchup.
So before all the TSM stuff happened, I was looking at this weekend like 100 Thieves TSM. Alright, we got a free TSM game, then we're just gonna focus on 100 Thieves. And after I found out like, oh, we're versing like Tactical Mia and like they got solo and stuff. Like this roster might actually be pretty good now, So yeah, it was a bit. I think they're an upgrade. It might not be showing compared to like the previous Academy roster, but yeah, I think Tactical Mia are a pretty good bot lane.
Now, you were telling me a little bit more about, progress against this bot lane, maybe a little bit why there was some of that anxiousness going into it. You feel like you've progressed and gotten better as time has gone on against this bottom lane specifically.
Yeah, so when me and Destiny were subbing for LCS, we scrimmed against TSM like 3-4 times. Yeah, I think around that many. And at the start, like we were getting like completely annihilated. Like I remember the first game we were playing like Senna into Mia's Pike, and he literally just walked up to me level 1 and just stabbed me to death. And I was just like, wow, how does this guy know he can do that? And I thought like they were pretty good. But as the scrims went on, I feel like we were improving a lot, and we started winning a lot more games. So yeah, it's fun to like actually verse them in a real game now.
I like it. Now, you guys do have, just 4 series left on the regular season at least. I want to check in a little bit more about the team and how that's working out. Specifically starting with Destiny, how do you feel? I mean, obviously you guys have a lot of synergy together, but how do you feel now, rounding out the regular season? Just a little check-in.
I think we're progressing pretty well. I feel like we're able to play more play styles. I'm not sure if you noticed, but like at the start of the first few weeks, we were like first pick Yumi, we're going full scaling, we're going scaling town boys, and then after that, like previous like last week, we were like, all right, never mind, we're done with scaling, we're picking Lucian Nami, and we're fucking sending it no matter what. So yeah, we're trying to be a bit more diverse these next few weeks, and yeah, try to not be as one-dimensional as we were in the past few weeks.
Now, zooming out a little bit from just the bottom lane, how has the rest of the team been functioning? How have the bonds been building, between you guys, especially Shaden working with the rest of the team?
I think outside of the game, we're a very close team. I would say this is probably the only team I've been on where I feel like every single player has like a very like big like friendship with another. So yeah, it's very unique. I think Shaden, he's growing a lot as a player. I feel like at the start, most people even now they think like he's a Kindred Graves 2-trick. But, he's playing a lot of champs. Like I don't think if you asked someone a year ago like Shaden's playing Zac in competitive, like they wouldn't believe it. So yeah, I think he's come a long way.
I like it. Well, do you, King, have any thoughts for at least the rest of the regular season in terms of your play? Do you have anything that you're really looking to stand out with?
I mean, I'm just trying to play well every game. I think ADC is not that of an interesting role. There's putting like 5 viable champions at any time. So it's not like I can pull out anything crazy or wacky. Or maybe I can. Who knows? But yeah, I'm just trying to play as solid as possible.
Did you have any thoughts about the Seraphine first pick in the first game?
I touched on it a bit last week, where people have there's 2 opinions of Seraphine, right? Where either you can think she's like the most turbo OP like scaling champ in the game, or you'll be like, oh, this champ won't punish me, so I can do whatever I want. And I am of the opinion that I agree with the latter, where like I like Resident Seraphine because it's very easy. Like if I'm missing a player like Tactical, who's actually like a really good laner, he plays really aggressive champs, and I see him playing Seraphine, I'm like, oh, I get to chill out for a game. So yeah, I don't mind Resident Seraphine, and it's evident in our drafts as well.
I like it. A little pressure off. Well, I just want to give you the last little bit. Give any shout outs, anybody you want to talk about before I let
Shout
you
out
go.
to all the T9A fans. Shout out to my boys, Manji Gang. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, King. You're an absolute king. Thank you, buddy. I'll see you next, I guess, tomorrow. Back on
Hopefully, I can see you
competitiveness.
every
We'll be
day I
ready
play
for
it, man.
I know, right? All right, take it easy, man.
Alright, thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and bring back Joshi and maybe Pirate